For the prologue of the Canterbury Tales, Jackson and I's characters were the merchant and the Oxford student. First, we're going to talk about the merchant. The merchant was lines 270 to 284. Lines 270 to 273 talk about his looks. He was a very nice-looking man. He had a forked beard and was motley tall and proud. Motley means variegated and of colorful patterns. He wore a very colorful cloak and boots that were most elegantly wrought. He spoke with pomp on everything he thought, and he was very intelligent. He boasted of the earnings he collected, and he felt the trade route had to be protected twixt Middleburg and Orwell by the sea. His wit so well with such finesse that no one guessed the man's indebtedness. A modern connection that we could have made would be like he faked it till he made it. So like he gambled his way through life and like acted like he had all this money when he really didn't. Lines 274 to 273, we learn about who the merchant is and what his like role and job is. So his role was really like I said, he like gambled his way through life. He like made it seem like he had all this money when he really didn't, and just like put on a show like he was rich and he was smart, but like he was rich and had all this, like he was very wealthy. Lines 280 to 285, we learn about who he really is, all of his bargains and his borrowings, which is like he like gambled through not like the modern day gamble like with like going to a casino, but he gambled like through people, like borrowing things from people and never returning them and saying he was going to like give things back when he never was and things like that. And he like, obviously we don't know his name, but he was just known as the merchant. Now we're going to talk about the Oxford student, which is lines 285 to 310. On lines 285 to 290, we learn about the Oxford student's appearance and lifestyle. He was very unwealthy and skinny. He was known as being poor and wore threadbare clothes. He was hardly fat, which is also skinny, and looked quite hollow from the debonair. He was a student at a university, but his he didn't use his like education to its advantage, so he was very poor. On lines 290 to 294, we learn about his cloak and its meaning. His cloak didn't really have that much of a meaning. He mainly wore it because he didn't really have anything else to wear because he was so poor, and like it was easy like to make and didn't really require a lot of fabric or time or money, so that was the main reason why he wore it. Lines 294 to 300 talk about why he spent all of his money on books even when he does get money, even though he is poor. And he felt like his education was more important than obviously his well-being. So he spends like all of his money on books so he can like educate himself and learn more and become smarter, I guess. Lines 300 to 310 talks about why he thought books were more important than his well-being. So sometimes his friends would like give him money because they knew he was poor to like help him like get food or shelter or whatever he needed, but he used it on books because he thought books was more like educating himself was more important than not having a place to live or not having a job or not having food or anything. So he thought if he became smart enough and learned everything that he could learn, he could eventually get a job, and just like he thought everything would come to him more naturally if he was educated and smart. A modern connection between the merchant would be someone who gambles and acts like they have money. So the merchant always gambled through people, like made people think he had more money than he actually had, or made people think that he wasn't trying to get over on them, like people at casinos do. Like people who go to casinos and like play the lottery and do things like that do that because they think they'll eventually win and win all the money, when in reality, if they keep gambling, they'll lose money, not gain money, because they'll want to keep doing it because they think they're going to keep winning. Another connection that could be made could be J. Cole's song Chaining Day, where he says, "Me, I did the opposite, faked it, then I made it." And then a modern connection between the Oxford student, also known as the clerk, would be someone in today's society who goes to college for a certain career and then doesn't even use the career like when it's like later on in their life to like actually get a job. And that's kind of what the Oxford student did. He studied something in college that he wasn't going to use later on in life, so he just was poor for a while and then like tried to educate himself in a different field, and thought that would like help him survive in life.